Every empire believes it has invented a new kind of money, and every empire eventually discovers the same truth. It hasn't. Money follows laws, deep, stubborn laws that don't care about politics, promises, or optimism. These rules are older than nations, older than banks, older than paper currency itself. They aren't written in constitutions, they aren't taught in schools. They are learned the hard way, through crisis, collapse, and regret. And if you don't understand them, the financial system will always feel like it's working against you. Tonight, we uncover the forgotten laws of money, from debased coins in ancient Rome to the digital illusions of modern central banking. And by the end, you'll understand why the game was never fair to begin with. Law 1. Gresham's Law, the slow decay. In the 16th century, an English financier named Sir Thomas Gresham explained a brutal truth to Queen Elizabeth I. Bad money drives out good. The idea is simple. When two forms of money circulate at the same time, one trusted, one degraded, people don't act morally, they act rationally. They spend the bad money and hoard the good. Ancient Rome learned this lesson the hard way. The ancient silver denarius once symbolized stability across the empire, but as Rome expanded, wars became expensive. Instead of raising taxes, emperors quietly reduced the silver content of their coins, mixing in cheaper metals. Citizens noticed. They paid taxes with the new, diluted coins and hid the older, pure silver. The same pattern appeared across medieval Europe when kings clipped coins or replaced gold with copper. The lesson is timeless. When rulers try to cheat money, people adapt. And once this cycle begins, trust quietly unravels. Law 2. Thayer's Law, the moment of collapse. But when trust finally breaks, the rules reverse. Thayer's Law, named after 19th century French statesman Adolphe Thiers, explains what happens during total monetary collapse. Good money drives out bad. Picture Weimar Germany in the 1920s. Prices doubled in days. Wheelbarrows of banknotes bought a loaf of bread. Money became something you wanted to get rid of as fast as possible. People fled into anything real: gold, foreign currency, cigarettes, even barter. The same story played out in Zimbabwe, Venezuela, and every hyperinflation in history. Gresham's Law describes money's slow rot. Thayer's Law describes its sudden death. The gray zone, the Cantillon effect. But most societies don't collapse overnight. They live in the gray zone between decay and disaster, and that's where the most unfair law of all operates. In the early 18th century, economist Richard Cantillon noticed something unsettling. When new money enters an economy, it does not reach everyone equally. It enters through governments, banks, and financial elites first. They spend it before prices rise. By the time it reaches workers and savers, inflation has already done the damage. This is why money printing inflates stock markets but crushes wages, why Wall Street thrives while Main Street struggles, why stimulus checks vanish into higher rent and food prices. Inflation is not just rising prices, it is a transfer of wealth, and you are not on the winning side. The system funnels benefits upward while hiding the costs as inflation. Ordinary people feel robbed but can't see the thief. The Cantillon effect has quietly shaped inequality since the first coins were minted. The wealthy don't just earn more, they receive money earlier. Financial repression, the silent tax. If the Cantillon effect explains who benefits, financial repression explains why escape is so hard. After World War II, governments faced massive debt. Raising taxes risked rebellion. Default meant humiliation. So they chose a quieter solution. They trapped citizens inside the system. Interest rates were held below inflation, guaranteeing that savings lost value every year. Capital controls limited where money could go. Citizens earned negative real returns while governments inflated their debts away. It was taxation without legislation. After the 2008 financial crisis, the same strategy returned. Interest rates fell to near zero for over a decade. Savings lost trillions in real wealth, while asset prices exploded for those who already owned stocks and property.
From 2020 to 2021, it happened again. Savings eroded, housing and food prices surged. This wasn't an accident, it was financial repression updated for the 21st century. And the brilliance of it, at least from the government's perspective, is that most people never realized it was happening. They just felt poorer without knowing why. Law of empires, Triffin's law. Some monetary laws don't operate on individuals, they operate on empires. In the 1960s, economist Robert Triffin warned the U.S. Congress of a fatal flaw in the global system. If the dollar was the world's reserve currency, America had to supply dollars to the world. That meant running trade deficits, spending more abroad than it earned so global trade could function. Short-term, it worked. The world trusted the dollar. Trade expanded. Long-term, it guaranteed decay. In 1971, Nixon ended the gold standard. The dollar became pure fiat. America exported dollars and imported goods. Factories moved overseas. Debt piled up, but dollar dominance kept the illusion alive. The paradox is brutal. To remain the world's reserve currency, a nation must sacrifice its own economic health. The dollar became both the crown and the curse. Today, challengers circle. China, Russia, and the BRICS bloc explore alternatives. Central banks are stockpiling gold at the fastest pace in half a century. The system that once gave the U.S. unmatched power now carries the seeds of its own decline. Goodhart's law, when numbers lie. Why can't governments fix this? Because of Goodhart's law. Economist Charles Goodhart observed a simple truth. When a measure becomes a target, it stops being a good measure. Inflation targets, GDP growth, employment numbers, these statistics are meant to describe reality, but once politicians chase them at all costs, they distort the system. Inflation stays low on paper while housing, healthcare, and education explode. GDP rises while debt and fragility increase. Official data shows stability. Real life feels unstable. Prosperity becomes an illusion built on borrowed time. The final law, diminishing returns on debt. In the early stages of growth, debt fuels expansion. Borrow $1, gain $1 of output, sometimes more. But over time, the returns fall. Eventually, each new dollar of debt produces less growth than the last, then almost none at all. Debt keeps rising, growth stalls. The system stops accelerating and starts gasping. We're in that phase now. U.S. debt exceeds $30 trillion. Each new borrowing cycle produces less real wealth and more financial distortion. Markets stay afloat, illusions remain intact, but the math doesn't lie. Every empire reaches this stage. Rome debased its currency. France collapsed under debt before 1789. Britain declined after 2 world wars. Debt doesn't save empires, it buys time. The uncomfortable truth. So what do these laws teach us? Money is not magic. It follows rules as unforgiving as gravity. Bad money replaces good until collapse. New money enriches the few before the many. Governments erase debt by erasing savings. Reserve currencies rot from within. Targets replace truth. Debt consumes itself. These are not academic theories. These are survival rules. And here is the hardest truth of all. The system was never designed for you to win. Ordinary citizens live under transparency. Elites live under secrecy. You earn wages. They receive money first. You hold cash that loses value. They hold assets that rise. The system obeys its own laws, and unless you learn them, you will always be playing blind. History doesn't repeat itself, but money obeys laws. And if you don't understand them, they will crush you anyway.